Hello, welcome to Flory Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Edard, or Bressin set. This is the cockpit set for the 109 G5 cockpit set. Now you might remember we looked at some of their stuff last week. We've been using it extensively on our big build at the moment, so we thought we'd have a look at one of their cockpit sets. So what we got down here is a brand new sealed box, their new packaging design. Okay, so what we do is flick in. Exactly the same as the usual way of doing it. It's all going to be folded in there. In the box we actually have the parts in various little sub bags, which are quite nicely done, and the cockpit itself, which to be honest doesn't look too much, just like that. We've got the full colour and the Photoetch set in there just like that. Okay, so having a quick look at the instructions. Okay, so as you can see, normal thing, we've got control grip, working with the Photoetch belts, and let's face it, they always tend to be a little bit hit and miss doing those types of thing. But we've got the tub seat, as you can see, it's sort of hollowed out for the actual chute to go in underneath it. Okay, and then over here, we've actually got for working around the cockpit, usual thing, that laminated way of doing it, and to be honest, my favourite thing in the world is using these sets. So much easy, so much detail, really do give you a very nice finish. Not forgetting to put in the little three-dimensional bits, so you've got a little bezel on there and the little handles and pulls and various things as you go through. Then we've got putting a lot of these subsections together, so obviously that seat that was mentioned up here, the grip goes in. We've got the gun, this is obviously for the cannon, which fits through the nose system, actually backs up and comes through into the cockpit, so that's that one in. The rudder pedal system and everything else going in, and then again, there we've got those all important rudder pedals going on and being fitted in. A little bit more Photoetch just down there on the edge. And then we are over, here we are, just down into the inside. So then we've got the side panels, and these are beautifully detailed. So we've got all the hosing, the wiring, and again more Photoetch parts and various little bits and pieces added on there to give you great detail. Side unit goes on, okay, and then literally we've got the other parts showing about and going down here. So we've got things like the trim wheels and stuff like that, and a nice cross slot so you can see exactly how it's supposed to go in. Then that section is going to go on to the other side. The actual instrument panel goes in the top. Gun sight, multiple parts going in there to make up the gun, and that will actually then complete your cockpit section. So then it's just a case of going up. We've got some more details, which is a very nice touch. So we've got a little bit of Photoetch going down there in the internal framing system. We've got the armoured sheet behind the pilot's actually head that connects, as you can see, to the canopy. All right, so that'll complete those areas, bringing those up. Then we've got to take out all the detail, because obviously the kit does have a little bit of detail down in there. So that's talking about removing those. So usual thing, if it's red, cut it all out, okay? There we go, cutting out another little bit down here, and then basically just drop fit, install straight away into the actual cockpit area that would have you actually on the kit itself. And then a little bit later on down your build, you obviously do this. So you've actually got the bar system coming down here with the actual tether to stop it falling too far over to one side for putting them in, but obviously you do that after your build. So looking down, so let's have a look at the cockpit part to start with. Now this is very, very small, all of these parts. What I'm going to try and do is just drop the camera a little bit more, and I think what we might end up doing is just sticking, maybe coming in with a different camera altogether to try and get some more of these little details. So anyway, here is the actual base unit. As you can see, quite the normal way of doing things. So we've got that usual thing. This is the casting block down here behind it. So literally you just chop that back part off. This internal bit, I assume you could leave it actually in there. I don't think it's doing too much at all. Okay, and again, these side bars that you can see coming down here quite clearly, those are going to come off. So it's just leaving you with the floor. This is just the casting block itself, but obviously you want to leave all the top here. Usual thing, not too much detail, considering the amount of attention that's been made about making this part, that actually isn't much going on underneath here, as you can see, but generally it's a good basis, a good start, okay, for getting those in. Then which bits are we going to look at? I suppose it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. So coming in and looking at some of these other little parts. So this is that seat we were looking at. So this is the tub. Now don't forget, this is 1/48. I know a lot of the times we look at these reviews, it's in 1/32, but it's 1/48, so it's showing it. But as you can see, beautiful little casting details on the side. Again, not a hint of anything like a flash or burring, or definitely a hole in it from the actual casting process. Beautifully done, very nicely done on that. Then we got, this is the actual cannon that goes down between the pilot's legs as it comes back in through the sort of firewall of the cockpit. Okay, so that's the details on there. It looks like we've got two different types as well. So you've got two different flavours down there. Basically, it's just the angle of which one it is. So I assume you've got two little types down in there. Okay, this is the bulkhead down the back. As you can see, again, beautiful. Considering the detail in here, I'm hoping the camera's really going to do this justice, because it is absolutely exquisite. Fantastic little details down in there. Really does look very, very nice. Got nice sort of, you know, the actual raised details and the recess, but the tiniest of tiny little riveting details and everything down in there. No problem with that at all. Then we've got the actual floor area and a little cushion area at the back. This is the floor between the pilot's legs, as you can see it just like that. Okay, then we've actually got in the next bag, let's move that one out. Okay, we've actually got the control grip itself again, and this is the retention bar off the back of the cockpit, I do believe. Again, very hard. I know the camera's at maximum trying to come in here, but you can see beautifully done. No problem with that at all. This is the blank for the instrument panel. This is what all the colour Photoetch is going to stick to. We'll look at in a moment, but you can see it just down that. But we've got a little bit of details down the bottom, around the edges, and everything else like that. If you wanted to go through, again, nice touch, you got both options. We have got a bezeled version of that as well. Now this is going to be no good if you're using it for obviously your standard colour ones going on there, i.e. this guy in a little bit, but generally if you wanted to make up your own or have it as a blank or anything else, you've got all the bezel detail. Just gives it a little bit more three-dimensional, and again, fantastically, beautifully cast. Okay, then we've got some of the little smaller parts. I think it's something to do with the pedals, okay, just down in there, and again, even tinier parts, the microscopic bits down here on parts number 63, 64 and 65. As you can see them just down there like that. Then we've actually got the sidewall itself. Okay, now this is cast in one piece, and I don't know if you can see, you can actually see through it. It is that thin. It is beautifully done, this type of thing. Okay, but generally when you look at it on this side, that's the money shot. Okay, that's what you're paying all your money for in here. Beautifully cast, fantastically detailed, and there's no way really you're going to go around scratch building details like that, not unless you're a real martyr. Okay, so that is a beautifully way of super detailing really your cockpit. And obviously if you're going to invest a little bit of money that's into these, into the actual aircraft itself, you're going to end up with something absolutely stunning with these details. Okay, then you've got these guys. Now this is obviously for the gun sights and the various things. I don't even know if you guys can see this. It is absolutely minute. And we say minute, we really, really mean it. They're absolutely tiny. You know, these are 1 centimetre squares, just to give you an idea how small these parts are. And remember, this is cast. This is actually cast, clear casting, and it's absolutely nothing in there. It's beautifully done. Very nicely done indeed. Okay, so last up we got a couple of little bits of Photoetch just down in here. I can get these out without bending them. There's one. Need to do that, and a little piece of acetate. Oh, what I'll do is if I leave the acetate in there, you got here, this is the acetate. So we've got the gun sights down here, but I presume that's for the back of the panel. The actual, not the instrument panel, the head box, something else like that. Okay, down in there. But again, beautifully done. Now the Photoetch parts, which is probably easier to leave down here. It's funny how it looks sparkly on film, but it's not, it's just flat. Okay, so that's all your Photoetch stuff. So usual thing, that's the back bit. That's what I was saying about this rear header box. Got this clear part is for here. It's obviously going to fold in, laminate between the two. Trim wheels, all the usual bits and pieces you find in a cockpit, all the little things, the little rudder pedals, and the gears and pulleys and everything else like that, as you can see on this, sorry about the flash, on this beautiful little Photoetch fret. just like that. Now this is the nice one, this is the money one. Now this isn't a glued one, it's not a self-adhesive, which I must admit I'm not a fan of their self-adhesive stuff, but that is all the details for the cockpit. So you've got your instrument panel, got the rear plate, the forward plate, forward and so on. These, I must admit, I'm not so much of a fan. But that said, 1/48 scale, I think they are more than adequate. I think if you wanted to go down and go for the fabric one, really you're not going to get much difference. You know, the GHW one, things like that, purely because in this scale, there's not much going to be happening. You know, it's all very small in details, and maybe in Photoetch it might be even better. Okay, then obviously if you're doing 1/32, 1/24, then you might want to think about the fabric ones, but definitely in this scale, not a problem at all. So that really is very, very nice. So there we go, beautifully detailed. Again, as said, last week when we reviewed these, I did put my hand up and said I'm a massive fan of the Bressin stuff. I absolutely love it. You've seen it down here. We've been working on it the last couple of weeks, and I am a complete convert. I will be going off, to be honest, every time that a new something comes out with it, probably getting it, because I find it easy to work with, beautifully cast, and gives a fantastic bang for your buck. So if you want a good value, you know, upgrading your models, really you can't go wrong with these guys. So there we go. Where is the box? There. No, that's the wrong box. So unless there's something else in here, which I don't think there is, no, just some beautiful packaging, and all the rest of it goes with it. So there we go, that is Edard's. This is the one for the BF 109 G5 cockpit set. They also do it for the G6 as well. That one is out with you as well, okay? So your part number for this particular one is actually 648263. And you can get it just like that. But again, it's beautifully done, no problem at all with that, and very much worth the investment.